Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Weekly Analysis and Assessment. In this video, we'll discuss how NVIDIA behaved last week and how NVIDIA can perform this week. We'll use fundamentals, technical charts, and other data for this assessment. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily and weekly summary. On Friday, Nvidia opened at 145.93. It made a high 147.16. It made a low 141.10 and it closed at 141.95. That is 3.22% down. But overall, last week was not very good for Nvidia. You see, in last 5 days, Nvidia just went up 1.86%. But if you take a look year to date Nvidia price movement, you see Nvidia is still up about 194%. And that's a very good return for any stock. At this point, I think Nvidia is in the correction mode, and I'm positive that after some time, Nvidia should bounce back. And if you take a look a weekly chart for Nvidia, as you see on your screen, you see that in the last week, Nvidia managed to close positive. A very small positive change for Nvidia in the last week. And before that, you see a negative closing. The last 4 weeks, you see that a mixed picture for Nvidia. So one week negative closing, the other week positive, then negative, and then last week positive. So next week, still not decisive in my opinion. It could be either negative clothing or positive clothing. But if you ask my opinion, my personal opinion, I think next week Nvidia should close positive as well. But Nvidia had a good time. You see that? One, two, three, four, five. Five consecutive positive clothing. And that was sometime in October and early November. And those time may come back. If you take a look overall trend for last 8 or 9 months, starting from January this year, you see that 11 positive closing for Nvidia consecutively, and then you see some negative, and then again you see positive, and then again you see negative direction and some volatility, and then you see positive uptrend, and then now you see some negatives. So overall, the trend suggests that Nvidia at this point is under pressure. So looking at the historical trend and try to make some correlation, then probably Nvidia at this time might make more volatility or make more correction in next few days or weeks. That's what it says. But eventually, I think Nvidia should bounce back before the next earnings. Now, let's take a look technical chart for Nvidia. On your screen, you see a 180-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia and also the Fibonacci levels. So I have redrawn the Fibonacci levels by selecting the highest point so far, and that's 152.89. And also I selected this one as my bottom level for Fibonacci. So based on these resistance and support levels, the next support level is at 140.62. Nvidia at this point is trading around 141 and 142. So if Nvidia is able to break 140, the next level of support is 133. So in my opinion, around 140 could be a good buy. And if Nvidia goes down further, then around 133 would be another good buy. On Friday last week, I bought more Nvidia stocks around 141.8, and I think that was a good buy for me. So if Nvidia goes down further, I can make more buy for Nvidia around 133. Now let's take a look RSI chart. You see RSI chart on your screen. So on 180-day hourly interval chart, RSI at this point is around 31. So this says that Nvidia comparatively is on the oversold condition. But still Nvidia managed to be above 30 RSI. So if Nvidia goes down below 30, then probably we can say that Nvidia is in the oversold condition. And that would translate to probably 140 price level for Nvidia. And if you select other time interval, for example, 30 minutes, let's see what it says. So in a 30 minutes chart, RSI is at 33. Now let's take a look on 15 minutes chart. On a 15 minutes chart, RSI is at 40. So in the short term, you see that RSI is higher than the longer term interval chart. For example, hourly versus 30 minutes versus 15 minutes. So this tells that in the short term, Nvidia has more room to go further down. But in the long term, Nvidia will eventually bounce back. So that's what RSI short term and the long term charts are suggesting. Now let's take a look some news regarding Nvidia. Okay, so let's scroll down further. I do not see any Nvidia specific news so far. Uh, yeah, this one regarding Nvidia. This says that DA Davidson maintains neutral on Nvidia and raises the price target to 135. So 135, I don't think is a good enough price target for Nvidia. So let's scroll down further. So now here, Nvidia CEO Mr. Jensen Huang calls AI a miracle, say it cannot do 100% of our jobs. So that's not a surprise to me, as we already know that AI cannot replace every job in this planet. So let's scroll down further. Now you see another price target, and that is from Philips Securities. And they downgraded Nvidia to accumulate a raises price target to 160. So 160 kind of makes sense to me for next few weeks. So let's scroll down further. Let's see what are other news regarding Nvidia on Friday. So you see that we had some nuclear threat from Russia, but market did not react to it much last week, and that's a good thing. So if we scroll down further, we have more price targets here, and that is from JP Morgan. So JP Morgan adjusted Nvidia price target to 170 from 155. And also one more that is from CICC, and they also adjusted the price target to 160 from 136. I guess 160 for next few weeks makes more sense to me, as I said before. So let's scroll down further to see if there are more news regarding Nvidia that we should be taking a look. But I do not think more news are pretty generic. So now let's take a look at what happened with other AI stocks on Friday. So on Friday, you see that most of the AI or tech stocks were positive. Only Nvidia and Amazon were down. So this tells that probably early next week, Nvidia should make a little recovery, if not much. Now let's take a look what are different economic data due this week that can impact Nvidia and overall market. On Tuesday, we have minutes of Fed November FOMC meeting, but I'm not expecting anything different on this minutes of FOMC meeting. On Wednesday, we have weekly initial jobless claims, and also we have PC index or the inflation data, and that's important. We'll talk about it probably on my Monday video. And Thursday, we don't have much. We have Thanksgiving holiday, and Friday, nothing much. So only one data is important for this week, and that is PC index. So that was all about my NVIDIA weekly analysis and assessment for this week. So yeah, we know that NVIDIA had a hard time in last few days, but in my opinion, to those who still hold NVIDIA stock, I do not think we should be worried about it because looking at last 8 or 9 months of history that I showed you, that NVIDIA after having good time, it does some correction for few weeks. So the worst case if NVIDIA goes down, maybe below 140 or maybe around 133. But I do not think Nvidia can go down below 133 in next few weeks until and unless some other news or some other data that can impact Nvidia big time. But at this moment, I do not think Nvidia to go down below those levels. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you like the video. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.